Hey, good morning. It's September 11th, 2025, and um happy 9/11 day. Uh, I'm coming on. I haven't done my hair and makeup today. But I wanted to come on to address the um Charlie Kirk shooting. And the question that just keeps coming up in my mind is why would God, or why would Charlie Kirk's God, I'm atheist, I don't believe in God anymore. I'll talk about that in a second. But why would Charlie Kirk's God allow him to be assassinated, to be shot, and to die? Um, I'm sure a lot of Christians are even asking that. By the way, my name is Timmy Gibson, former fundamental, evangelical, tongue-talking, Holy Ghost rolling, Bible thumping preacher, pastor. Did that for 30 years, spent 48 years as a Christian, and walked away about 7 years ago now. I have a lot of videos talking about why I left evangelical Christianity, why I'm atheist, even what atheism is. I'm not saying there is no God. I'm saying that there's not enough evidence to convince me that there is a God, and specifically the Bible God, which is the God of the rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I've seen a lot of his debates. I've seen a lot of his things. Don't want to talk bad about the dead, so I'll leave that piece alone. But it's a real question. I mean, if you are a Christian, I'm sure you're asking yourself, why or how did God allow this to happen to Charlie Kirk? To me, I know the answer because there are evil people in the world that do evil things, and there is no God to protect people in some kind of divine way. You need to protect yourself, right? Uh, I suppose Charlie Kirk should have had better security. On and on and on. I don't know. He was shot on a college campus, I believe in Utah. I think it was just a couple days ago. And I hesitated to do this video because I feel bad. I think it's terrible. I mean, obviously, I think it's absolutely despicable. Whoever did this needs to be, I hope they're caught. I don't know. I haven't followed the news today to find out where they are on the investigation. But that aside, the question that I know is in the minds and hearts of people, specifically the Christians, is, why does God allow these kinds of things to happen? Like, how did this happen? And to me, again, it's just further proof. It's just further evidence. There is no God protecting people. Right? We talked about that with the Mystic Camp tragedy. And, here we are again with the shooting of Charlie Cook, who was, in the Christian's mind, a real force for God. Again, just YouTube search Charlie Cook debates and everything else. I mean, he's been out there, and obviously I have my opinions. All my videos address the nutty beliefs that fundamental evangelical Christians have, which is what Charlie Kirk was. He was a fundamental Christian and had all the views of Christianity, of what I used to believe as an evangelical. I believe he was a creation supporter, and all the things, and would have told you that God would protect him. God will protect you. And all. What happened? Right? I who knows what's going to come down the pike over the next few days and next few weeks, in the sense of, you know, who knows? I mean, I never met Charlie Kirk, don't know Charlie Kirk. I just know him from his videos and from his online debates. And, you know, clearly I think all of those beliefs were moronic and wrong and not accurate. And, you know, I could go on and on about all that. Again, you know, that you can find that out for yourself. But why did God allow this to happen, right? Well, again, that's so easy to answer. There is no God. There is no God protecting people from harm. We protect ourselves, or, you know, or we hire other people to protect us. That's just, you know, things happen. Now, I know what Christians are going to say, right? You know, the devil did this. Well, that would be difficult because there is no devil. A human did this. An evil, stupid human did this, right? That's what actually happened. God had nothing to do with it. The devil had nothing to do with it, because those are make-believe. That'd be like saying Santa did this. I mean, it's like clearly. So it's either here's what you gotta, if you're a Christian listening to this, those are atheists like me, or, you know, whatever, and we're familiar with him, or not even if you're familiar with him. As an atheist, well, we understand why things happen, because shit happens. That's life. And there are corrupt people, evil people out there doing stupid, evil things, and, you know, don't have any integrity or whatever. I don't know. I don't know anything about the person that did this. I don't know why they did it. I don't know what, you know, I have no idea what the motives were. I have no idea about any of that stuff. I have not followed up on any of that at this point. I just wanted to do a quick video to address what I know Christians will say, or have probably already said. I haven't gone out and watched any of the videos as of yet. I just literally decided to make this video a few minutes ago. That's why it's not on my normal day. I normally do Sundays and Wednesdays, and today's Thursday. But I feel like it's an important thing to point out, you know. So why did God allow this to happen? Again, the answer, because there is no God. That's why. That God didn't allow this to happen. It just happened. That kind of stuff happens to all kinds of people, regardless of what they believe, regardless of their following, regardless of anything. This kind of stuff just unfortunately happens, you know. I believe he was married and had some kids, and it's just a tragedy. I mean, it really is. You know, it's a shame. Just because his beliefs were wackadoodle doesn't mean I would have ever wished any ill will or harm on him. Despite what some moronic Christians might think about non-believers. I mean, it's just not true. It's not accurate. I would have never, ever wished any ill will on anyone. I don't care what they believe. Now, I wish a little ill will on the person that shot him, clearly, because he did that. It's terrible. Why did God allow this to happen? In the Christian's mind, there's a plethora of reasons. One, because he was such a voice for God. He was targeted by the devil, and the devil won. So that's fascinating, right? So the devil is more powerful than God's angels and all the protective prayers of all the people, so apparently God was napping or didn't care or got beat by the devil. So there's that. in a Christian's mind, that's most likely what's going to go, is that, he was such an advocate for God, and he was targeted by the devil, the make-believe devil. So that's clearly what Christians are probably going to lean into. The other thing that because who knows, I don't know. I don't know the dude. I don't know anything about his life. I don't know if there's secrets. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just going to assume not. I'm going to assume that he was a good dude behind closed doors and there's no shenanigans. But I need to just say this because I have to, that, if there's some shenanigans that end up coming out, secret lovers and if all those shenanigans come out, well, then Christians are going to, turn their, they're going to shift their thing and begin to then attack this person that had a double life, and he opened the door to the devil, and, all of that. I mean, again, I've been in this, I've spent 48 years as a Christian, so I've been in this long enough and have experienced enough tragedies within the Christian church to hear them spin things all different crazy ways. There was sin in his life and it opened the door for, tragedy. That's a possibility. And then some of the weirder Christians, will say things that, God just needed. Matter of fact, I did see a title on one video from a Christian pastor, and he said, Charlie Kirk didn't die, he now truly lives, or something like that. And yeah, sorry to break it to you, but no. He got shot and he died. And that's it. Whatever's after this, which I don't think, who knows? I don't know. You don't know. I would say Charlie Kirk knows now, if there's anything to know, right? If it's just, this is it, it's over, lights out, then there's nothing. And there's no awareness of nothing. It's like before you were born. It's just over. Or, or I guess for those that are Christian, he's in the loving arms of Jesus. That's what I used to believe about death, is that to be absent from the body is to be present from the Lord. So the second he passed from this earth, he was instantly in heaven with Jesus. So, I guess in all fairness, is that potentially possible? I guess. I mean, there's a part of me that'd be like, well, no. But I guess I can't say that with 100% certainty because I don't know. But I'd put my money on it's just over. So yeah, I mean, it's just an unfortunate thing, right? I mean, again, even as an atheist, like I have a heart, and I have a big heart. I don't want anything bad to happen to people, unless they're just bad and hurt people really bad. Then I think they need to spend their life in prison or something. I mean, clearly, obviously, but Charlie Kirk didn't strike me as someone that was. I mean, his message was well, I would say hurtful because it's not true. That's one of the reasons that I am an atheist is in my pursuit of truth. That's what led me to where I'm at today. I mean, I know that is hard for Christians they can't swallow that, right? They can't even wrap their minds around that. It's just impossible. I know, because when I was a Christian, you're just so in that world that nothing outside makes sense without the filter of God, the devil, the Bible, Jesus is coming back. We're living in the end times. That's, that I'm sure that'll be something that Christians will say. We're living in the end times. No, we're not. We're not, unless there's an asteroid coming or something. I mean, we're not living in the end times as it relates to the Bible. The Bible's a fiction. It was written by first century ignorant people in the Middle East, right? However many thousands of years ago. It's not a prophetic book. This book has the wisdom in the Bible, and there is some wisdom in there, right? There's wisdom in Harry Potter. There's wisdom in lots of literature. So that's nothing divine. Clearly the Bible's not divine. I mean, just read it. And that's just like obvious. You just take one glance at it and it's like, well, these people didn't know anything about a lot of the things that we know about now, which will be true in another 2,000 or 3,000 years. They'll look back on us and think, man, those people, they was ignorant. They didn't know this and that and the other, and whatever. I mean, it's pretty common sense, really. And so, yeah, the Bible's not divine. There's nothing in the Bible that's divine. It's a very human document. And again, read it. And read it for what it is. Don't read it with all your googly God glasses on. Just read it. And, it's an archaic book that supported slavery, supported women were second-class citizens. Women were property of the men. So a lot of things that are just barbaric. Incest was a part of the thing. I mean, that's something that just people never talk about, right? It's just, I remember when I was a Christian pastor and I had people ask me questions like that. Well, then, if Adam and Eve were the first two humans, they weren't. But if Adam and Eve were the first two humans, and then their kid, who'd they marry and who'd they sleep with? It's a good question, right? Obviously, that's not true, but obviously with each other, right? Brothers and sisters were marrying and sleeping with each other. I mean, that's just, again, it's all fictitious, but that is what would be true. If the Bible were true, that's absolutely a fact. Then I've heard some Christians, the way they can slip out of that as well. Adam and Eve were the first two humans, but God actually created other humans after that. He just didn't talk about it because these were the model, first two. But the children of Adam and Eve actually married other people from other, Okay, you believer in the Bible, where's that in the Bible? Right? It's not in there, right? Oh, you would have think that if a divine being would have wrote that, he'd have went ahead and cleared that up. He'd have thought ahead and said, people's going to be wondering, if Adam and Eve were the first two humans, then who did their kids get married to? That would, right? Anyway, it's just so clear. The further I get away from the Christian worldview, it's much like living like the Truman Show, living in a bubble. Once you get out, it's like things start to make sense. Once you're not doing all those mental gymnastics to try to make sense of things that don't make sense, all of a sudden you're faced with, oh, well, that makes total sense. Like, oh, well, okay, clearly that lines up with the facts that are around us here. So yeah, a true tragedy in the sense of anybody being assassinated is just, it's terrible. I'll probably talk more about this. Again, I woke up this morning and leaned over to my wife and I was like, I think I'm going to have to do a video about why did Charlie Kirk's God allow him to get assassinated? Like, what's up with that? I said, I know Christians are asking that. And, I could get my Bible out and, go to this verse and that verse, and that, the devil is roaming around seeking whom he may devour. And he saw that Charlie Kirk was a threat to his, to science and to reality. And he had to take him out. But it's just worth mentioning. So where was God then? Just like I said for the Camp Mystic video, where was God? I know there, and I only know this because, meaning this is what I believe. I know where God was. There, he's nowhere. So that's why tragedies happen, because we live in a world that is just full of awesomeness and not awesomeness and natural disasters, and that's just what it is. And so, yeah, why did Charlie Kirk's God allow him to be shot, to be assassinated? You're not asking the right question, right? Because there is no God that did allow this. This wasn't allowed. It was allowed by his security team. It was allowed by whoever was supposed to be in charge of all that. I mean, that is exactly what happened. There's no war in the heavens. None of that. And clearly the prayers of all the people, a lot of people be praying for Charlie Kirk, and to no avail. Now, my thoughts, my heart is with his family. Truly, I send them my thoughts, and I hope that they can work through this, and it's a terrible tragedy. I really do hope that they can get the help and support that they need, and that that their friends and family can help them and surround them with love and all of that. All of that stuff's true. But the bottom line is, Charlie Kirk's God was nowhere. And for the Christian, you just have to say, well, the devil won this one. Right? There is no devil, y'all. I'm just playing along with that Christian belief system, which I'm so very familiar with. I've said it so many different times. I feel extremely uniquely qualified to talk about this, because I spent so many years of my life in that belief system. And yeah, I mean, it's I know what people be thinking. And at this stage, so early on, it definitely was the devil, is what Christians are thinking. And there are those Christians that believe God will take people. Did I finish my thought on what that one video said? Oh yeah, I did. But the one preacher was like, he didn't die, he now lives, or whatever. I don't know. I mean, cuss and discuss below. Let me know your thoughts. For the Christian, what's your answer? What do you think? Because I know that's how you're asking the question. Why did God allow this? How did this happen? Feel free to cuss and discuss below and give us your scripturally based reason of why you think it happened. I'm super curious what else is going out there, and genuinely I'm curious what Christians are saying. Like I said, I've not watched any videos on it yet. I saw the news, and my question to you at the beginning of this video was the very same question that just popped into my mind. Well, where was Charlie Kirk's God? What happened there? But they have to put a spin on it. Christians have to put a spin on it. They have to put a spin on it. And I'll probably even do another video today, because I'm going to start watching. I've got a guy. I'm watching some reggae right now. Anyway, so yeah, I'm very curious to do a little roaming around on the YouTubes and find out what exactly Christians are saying about all of this. And yeah, that's I'm just sure they're going to be saying that the devil or God needed him to come home early for some reason to do something in heaven. Apparently, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what Christians will say? They won't agree. They'll go all over the map. There'll be a million different reasons. And I would think within the atheist community, there's one reason. And the one reason is because there are bad people out there that want to do bad things and want to hurt people. And I mean, come on, we've all seen the news. So I will be honest and say I was shocked. Like, I was shocked only because I've watched so many of his debates, and in fact, there's been times I wanted to do a video about him, frankly, and talk about some of the things that I've heard him say. So yeah, even for me, I was just like, what? Like, what? Excuse me. I just couldn't believe it. All right, listen, cuss and discuss down below. Let me know your thoughts. If you're a Christian, I am curious, very curious, genuinely. Like, what do you think happened here? Was it the devil? Was it God? Was God busy doing something else somewhere else and forgot? Were people's prayers just not effective? Were the people that were praying just didn't have enough faith? Right? Were there some sin in his life? Like, what? What do you think? Cuss and discuss down below. By the way, I do have a Facebook group called Timmy's Deconstruction Community. I'd love to have you. If you're an atheist or agnostic or going through the deconstruction process, we'd love to have you in the community. I think we're up over 800 people. I think we're getting close to 1,000 in the group. And it's just a free group, but it's a bunch of fun. So, all right, peace, everybody, and happy. What do they call today? Is it Patriot Day, 9/11 Day, something? I don't even know what it is, but obviously in remembrance of 9/11, another tragedy that happened. Like what, 20, is that 24 years, 25 years ago? Anyway, all right, peace, everybody.